A plague-like wind sweeps across the dry, sandy wasteland of a post-apocalyptic Japan. Wherever it passes, over people, animals, or objects, only rust remains. The disaster is believed to have been caused by mushroom spores. How did they come about? Years ago, someone dropped a bomb on a Japanese city, wiping it out completely and leaving behind a barren desert. That area is now surrounded by a huge wall, with only a single gate for entry. Two guards stand watch at the gate. They recall how some people once considered organizing a sightseeing tour of the Tokyo blast site, but they laugh at the idea. Who would willingly step into the rusty wind? These days, only monks ever pass through the gate. Beyond it lies nothing but an endless desert of iron. The guards spend their days in monotony until one man shows up. He is heavily covered, with only his eyes visible, and introduces himself as a monk named Wataru. One guard immediately realizes it's a false name, but the man explains he has cast away his real one. He claims to be on a pilgrimage, a funeral journey. Wataru then asks about a man featured on a wanted poster nearby. The guards explain that this fugitive turned their main tourist attraction into a mountain of mushrooms. People call him the man-eater, not just because of the destruction he caused, but because he's rumored to eat humans. His crimes were so heinous that people felt the name fit. That, the guards explain, is why they are stationed there, to stop criminals from escaping through the desert. In a sense, they are the prefecture's last line of defense. They remain vigilant at all times, because no one can predict when one of the wanted men might attempt to slip past them. Meanwhile, in the city, people try to live their lives as normally as possible. Many of them, however, wear coverings and gas masks to protect themselves from the rust. Police patrol the streets, asking if anyone has seen people buying or selling mushrooms. Inside a brothel, an old woman, seemingly the boss, rants about her past. She says she left her village when she was only 8. After her father died from the rusting, her mother also became gravely ill with the same disease. The villagers drove them out of their home, showing no mercy. As she wandered, she claims to have come across the black pole that would later explode, creating the massive hole in Tokyo and bringing ruin to Japan. In that moment, she cursed her fate. But the girls around her do not take her seriously and hardly pay any attention to her stories. In another room, a man known as Dr. Milo tends to a young woman, injecting her with medicine. Afterward, he treats a father and his son, both suffering from the rusting. He refuses to take any payment, but makes it clear the medicine can only slow the spread of the disease. They must avoid leaving the city walls as much as possible. Unfortunately, the father admits that his work forces him to go outside. Meanwhile, on the streets, a man wearing a gas mask sells mushrooms to a vendor at a food cart. They act as if they are dealing in drugs, even though it is just a mushroom. The man in the mask explains that many people want to taste a mushroom, what they call a taste of heaven, before they die. He warns his customer not to give up his name if he's ever caught. Back in the brothel, the old woman continues her tale. She recalls seeing a strange man standing alone by the black pole, scraping rust from its surface and collecting it in a vial. He was a mushroom keeper. The rumors were true. Those people really were spreading the rust. Right then, the doctor says he's heading home. His sister is waiting for him. On the way, he stops at the same food cart from before. He buys some food and then quietly asks if the vendor has any today. The man gives him some mushrooms but warns that he doesn't understand why the doctor risks so much. If he were ever caught, the whole town would suffer for it. Milo finally returns home, where his sister has been worrying because he's late. She apologizes, saying that if her condition were just a little better, she wouldn't have to put him through so much hardship. But he reassures her, telling her it's not hardship at all. She is his dear sister after all. Later, we see Milo using the mushrooms he bought for an experiment, hoping they could be the key to new medicine. The government has even provided him with the latest drug synthesizer, and he refuses to let such a resource go to waste. His sister, however, doubts that the governor would lend such advanced equipment without expecting something in return. If Milo owes him too much, it will only cause trouble later. Milo acknowledges the risk, but insists that if he can use the synthesizer to develop treatments for the rusting, he might help not only her, but everyone suffering from the disease. For now, he's willing to test anything with even the slightest potential, no matter what the ingredient is. Meanwhile, at the city walls, the guards continue talking about the criminal on the wanted posters, Bisco. They say his mushrooms are beyond belief. With just one draw of his bow, wherever his arrow lands, whether in earth or metal, giant mushrooms as tall as trees burst into being. To them, he's a reckless mushroom keeper with no concern for others. Still, they reassure themselves that no villain has ever managed to escape to another prefecture. Back with Milo, he tells his sister he's heading out again. He has made medicine for the food cart vendor's daughter and wants to deliver it as soon as possible. While out, Milo runs into the governor by chance. The governor begins flattering him, calling him the one flower blooming in this rotten city, but his tone quickly shifts. He tells Milo he's wasting his time trying to save a sister who can never be cured. No matter how hard he works in the streets, those without money always die. Instead, the governor urges him to work for the government. With his skills, he could earn all the money he wants from the outside, even afford the best rusting treatments. Then and only then could he truly save his sister. Suddenly, arrows rain down across the city, sprouting enormous mushrooms wherever they land. A mushroom keeper. Chaos erupts as people panic, desperate not to breathe in the spores that would turn their bodies to rust. In her room, Milo's sister, Neko, sees the attack on TV. Colonies of giant mushrooms spread across the city. As the captain of the city watch, she immediately dresses up to head out. Just then, Milo rushes back, excitedly describing the sight of huge mushrooms springing up in an instant. But when he sees her dressed for battle, he protests. She has not finished her treatment yet, and the rust has almost reached her heart. Is her duty more important than her life? Neko replies that Milo is more important to her. She orders him to lock the door until she returns and not to set foot outside the clinic. Milo insists she is the one who shouldn't be leaving. She always says he's important to her, yet goes off to do something reckless without thinking about how he feels. He tells her to lie down. He will speak to the watch himself. She asks if nothing she does, no amount of pleading, will convince him to step aside. He shoots back. Has she ever backed down when he pleaded with her? It is the same for him. Neko smiles, glad that he is like that, but then she quickly strikes and knocks him out. When Milo wakes up, he complains that he's never heard of a sister attacking her younger brother's vital points. Still, he admits he has gathered all kinds of mushrooms he has never seen before from the food cart vendor. With this many, he is sure he could, but before he can finish, a voice cuts him off, completing the thought. He can make medicine, right? Standing before him is none other than the man-eating mushroom himself, Bisco.